Hello, my friends. Today's title of horror story is Shadows of the Forgotten Path. The town of Black Hollow had always carried an air of mystery, but no place was more infamous than the old Hollow graveyard. The graveyard wasn't just a resting place for the dead. It was a forbidden place, a boundary between the world of the living and something far darker. And cutting through it was a graveyard path, a shortcut whispered about only in hushed tones. No one dared take it after dark, not since the stories began. Strange disappearances, people walking in and never coming out, and whispers of a shadowy figure haunting the path. Yet, for 23-year-old Ethan Mallory, superstition was just an excuse for fear. He worked late at the factory and couldn't afford the extra hour it took to avoid the graveyard. Just stories, he muttered, pulling his coat tighter against the December chill. His flashlight beam sliced through the fog as he stood at the rusted gates of the graveyard. The moon hung low, shrouded by thick clouds. Beyond the gate, the crooked tombstone seemed to lean closer, as if eavesdropping. The path stretched out before him, winding through the dead like a serpent. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped inside. The first warning. The air grew colder the moment Ethan crossed the threshold. His breath came out in thick white plumes, and the faint crunch of his boots on the frosty ground echoed unnaturally. The flashlight flickered once, but held steady. As he walked, the wind picked up, carrying with it a faint sound. It was subtle at first, like the rustle of leaves, but then it grew distinct. Whispers. Ethan? He froze. The sound seemed to come from everywhere at once, yet there was no one in sight. He swung the flashlight around, illuminating rows of ancient tombstones and the gnarled trees that bordered the path. The shadows cast by the beam seemed to linger too long, bending unnaturally as if resisting the light. "Keep moving," he whispered to himself, shaking off the unease. But as he walked, the whispers grew louder, shifting into a cacophony of voices. Some were soft and pleading, others angry and guttural. The air seemed to press in on him, thick and suffocating. The figure. Halfway through the path, Ethan saw it, a figure standing ahead, cloaked in darkness. It was tall and impossibly still. Its face was obscured, but its presence was palpable, radiating dread. "Who's there?" Ethan called, his voice trembling. The figure didn't respond. Instead, it raised an arm, pointing a long, skeletal finger directly at him. Ethan's flashlight flickered again and went out completely. Panic surged through him as he fumbled with it, but the batteries were dead. The graveyard plunged into darkness, and the whispers returned, louder and closer. He took a step back, but the ground seemed to shift beneath him. Suddenly, the tombstones no longer stayed still. They twisted, grew taller, and loomed over him like distorted giants. The figure was gone, but then Ethan heard it, a single, deliberate footstep behind him. The chase. He spun around, but there was nothing but the oppressive darkness. Another footstep came, closer this time. Ethan bolted, abandoning the path and plunging into the forest. Branches tore at his face and clothes as he ran blindly, the whispers now accompanied by something worse, a guttural, wet sound like breathing or growling. He didn't dare look back. His lungs burned and his legs ached, but he pushed forward, the sounds growing louder, closer. He could feel it now, the presence behind him, a coldness that reached into his bones. Then he tripped. Ethan hit the ground hard. The wind knocked from his lungs. Rolling onto his back, he finally looked up. The figure stood over him, its form shifting like smoke. Its face, or what passed for it, was a void, an absence of light. Long, claw-like hands reached for him. "Ethan," the voices chorused, now clear and united. "Stay with us." The morning after. The next morning, a local farmer found Ethan's flashlight lying at the edge of the graveyard. Its lens was cracked, and the batteries were missing as if drained completely. Search parties combed the area, but no trace of Ethan was ever found. Some swore they heard whispers in the wind as they searched, calling his name. Others claimed to see shadows moving unnaturally among the tombstones. The graveyard path remained empty from then on, avoided even in daylight. But on moonless nights, some say you can still hear Ethan's voice, faint and pleading, warning others to stay away. The shadows, however, remain silent. They always do, until it's too late. This is End of Story. Hope you like it. Please like and subscribe my channel for more videos. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.